Hello and welcome to a new edition of Design for the Times. I'm your host, Richard Christopher Scuderi. I'm very happy to have in studio someone that I've been working with for quite a while now. She's been a trooper and she's always been with me on my radio program at WHCR-DB in Flemington on my show Modern Design. But today she took a field trip and she went out of her way to come down as a favor to me in studio. And her name is Sandy Kasper. Welcome to our program.
Thank you, Richard.
Sandy owns a garden center that's so phenomenal, so different, so interesting that I felt that you guys had to hear about it. Her garden center is called the Garden Gate, and it's located on Route 31. What's the building?
101.
101 Route.
State Route 31.
State Route 31 in Flemington, New Jersey. You might go by it or have been by it a million times. It does sit, the building sits very far back. It's a very big lot, isn't it? And in the back is an anchor building, which is kind of deceiving because it's quite large. And not only do they have wonderful plants at very fair prices. In fact, I sort of shopped for the show, and I found that the big box stores' prices and your prices are the same.
Pretty much.
Yeah, they're pretty.
Sometimes we're cheaper.
Yeah, but better stuff, better quality stuff.
Yeah, right.
So why don't you tell us, Sandy, how you got started in the whole business? Now, the Garden Gate is, how much acreage is that?
There's only about 3 acres, but there's a lot of low land,
Okay.
so we can't expand upon it.
Right.
I'd like to.
It's stacked, though, with stuff from beginning to end.
It's packed.
It's 3 acres full of stuff. And I
Right.
saw that when I came to visit you today, you were moving stuff around a little bit.
Now we're getting ready for Christmas.
Right, for the
Yes,
changes of
yes.
season. So our topic today happens to be seasonal decorating, and we're going to talk a little bit about fall decorating, which people are still doing, and they're also refreshing because we've had an early fall that was very hot and very muggy, and a lot of things kind of sort of dissipated. And then we'll talk a little bit about Thanksgiving and some ideas for the table and corn, Indian corn, and interesting things. And then we're going to talk about something that I don't think that people know at all that you do unless they come in, and that is you have a wonderful, wonderful collection of Christmas decorations, probably one of the best that I've seen. In North Brunswick, New Jersey, there's a company, store called DeVries, and they do a nice job with Christmas also. But I would say yours is probably not as well known and really just as nice and just as lovely, and also maybe even a little bit more unexpected. Even some of the trees that you did this year, I thought were a little bit unexpected. The one with the blue was a little bit, and so on. So tell us how you got into the business. Did you grow up in New Jersey?
I've been in New Jersey for the last 50 years, probably.
Okay, so you've been here for
So
a long time.
I came up here, it was like 23 years ago.
Wow.
We came up here, and this garden center was available, so I jumped on it.
So did the person before you have the garden center for a long time?
I don't think they had it for a couple of years. They came in and went out, so nothing lasted, but we have.
So when you inherit or you purchase a garden center, I guess you're also buying the inventory.
Well, there was no inventory. It was
empty.
empty.
Oh, I didn't realize
Yes,
that.
we started from scratch.
So when
there
you
wasn't even greenhouses or anything.
Nothing. So you really built that up.
We did.
Oh my goodness. So when you start with a garden center that's a blank slate, what do you do you just get a feel for buying? How does it start? How do you start cultivating a garden center? What do you do?
I guess in your mind you just have to figure out where do I want my shrubs, where am I going to put my flowers.
Did you have a vision for what you wanted it to look like?
A little bit, yep, yep. And then every year we worked on it and added to it. My husband and I, Bill.
And did you find, like any garden, every year it got better and better?
It did.
Yeah.
It did. You have to grow. We used to go on garden center tours and see what everybody else was doing, get ideas.
Sure. We have a lot of images to share today. So why don't we put up that first image? Oh, okay, there we go. So this is your sign from the highway, and that's Route 31. Is that north or south there?
We're on the headed south.
South, right.
South side.
So the southbound sign.
Right next to right just past the high school.
Exactly. And there's the front of the lot, and I did this the other day, so it's still set up for fall. I see you have some mums there in the front and some pumpkins and so on. Let's take a look at the next image. Okay, I want to start talking about fall, because even though many of us had done our fall decorating right after Labor Day, and I find, and you and I talked about this on the radio, I find that mums don't last until Thanksgiving, right?
They will this year.
Okay, let's talk about what happened this year.
it was too hot, so they never set their buds till late, so they never bloomed. Usually they're bloomed out and done, gone by now.
So explain that to me, because obviously you're not growing the mums there, you're purchasing the mums,
Yes,
correct?
we don't have enough
So,
room.
so when do you get the mums? Like for your season, when do you physically get the mums in? Or when do you buy them? In the
Starting third week in August.
Okay, so in the third week in August, because August was awful hot, rainy, was the stuff not right in the garden centers? I mean in the wholesale growers? Was it not right there? Was it not up to where it's supposed to be when you buy it?
There's like 3 stages of mums.
Okay.
Early mums, mid mums, late mums.
Okay.
The early ones didn't even bloom till when the late ones usually do.
So everything
That's how much
was off.
the hot. Everything
Right.
was off. Everything was green
Yeah,
for
everything-
weeks.
For weeks and weeks.
For
So
weeks.
did you wind up buying stuff green, or what
Oh,
did you
yeah.
do? Yeah, and it just
Sure.
sat there green.
Yeah.
Now here's the other thing that I think happened in all garden centers, and even in the home improvement stores. People's mind wasn't on decorating for fall
No.
because it was 80 degrees,
Right,
right?
right.
So I don't think people bought, and it's a perishable item, and I don't think people bought until later.
Right. You're right.
Now, you talked to me about, and this we talked about last time, that there are different early mums, mid mums, and late mums. Are they based upon color or look or type?
Just when they bloom, their blooming time.
Okay. Is there a mum that's considered sort of a late mum?
There's a lot of them that are the later ones.
Okay.
But they even are usually gone by now.
By
but
now.
they're looking good now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
they'll
even-
last till Thanksgiving.
Even like last week was peak, right? So everything is so far
Everything,
off.
yeah.
So let's take a look at this picture, because this is something that I found that was very attractive. Now, corn stalks, not everybody gets into corn stalks, but for me, I think they're wonderful because they give height.
Right.
And typically the deer don't go after the stalks. Is that correct or not correct?
If they have the corn on, they will.
Okay, so I made a big mistake because I didn't check my corn stalk when I put it on my in my mailbox post, and when I came out, they ripped all the corn down
Right,
off it.
right.
But typically, they don't really go after the corn stalk. It's not appealing
the
to them,
stalk,
right?
no.
But what reminded me of your place here, and look at the presents that something that's not too expensive gives here, is the beautiful bows. And you have amazing ribbons.
We do.
And you have beautiful seasonal ribbons pretty much all year round, right?
Yeah, we have spring, fall, Christmas.
Different ribbons. So if somebody wants to come in
Nice.
and let's say maybe it's too late and they can't find a corn stalk, right? Couldn't they just go to you and get a beautiful full ribbon and you'll make them a beautiful bow,
Yep.
so when people come up their driveway
They
for
could.
Thanksgiving, it would look nice. Also, I just see some scattered pumpkins around here. Sometimes just laying the different things on the ground has a nice look to it.
Yes.
All right, why don't we take a look at the next image? Okay, here's a beautiful thing that could be done outdoor and indoor, and that's just very simple votives, and very votives with something kind of natural, maybe some branches and so on. Do you have any branches in your store for either for decorating for the Christmas season? I've been seeing in a lot of the magazines, and I tried that as well in one of my stores, is I just took natural branches during the Christmas time and did something with them.
Yeah, natural.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a backyard. They might
Right.
find something out there.
Right, or maybe spray the branches
Yeah.
and do something with
Yeah.
them and create a look either outside or inside. Okay, why don't we take a look at the next image? Okay, this is again set for fall, and this is something that you could do today. Now again, a lot of the mums and the early stuff are done, but a lot of this has to do with just sort of creating a color
The
palette.
wreaths, yeah.
Right, so dried wreaths are something that you can get very easily. The hanging lanterns are
Oh,
something.
we have those, yeah.
Yeah, and you have beautiful hanging lanterns that we can do there. And in this case, I noticed that you had a big supply still of gourds.
Gourds.
And I always say gourds are what? Gorgeous, right?
Yes.
Because they have such unbelievable color
And
stank-
texture.
And texture. Now, I saw something the other day, and I didn't know what it's called. I don't know if it's a gourd or a pumpkin. It looks like a pumpkin, but it has like warts all over it.
Probably a warty gourd.
It's a
they
gourd.
call it,
A
yeah.
warty gourd. Are they more popular? Because I saw them more this year, the warty gourds. That's hard to say.
We've had them for quite a few years. Yeah.
Do different, and some of the gourds I really love, and I don't see them from year to year. Are there certain years that more certain types of gourds are in and not in?
Well, the weather has to do with it. A lot of the pumpkins and the gourds rotted in the fields because of the weather.
Was it too hot and wet?
Yeah.
So there were that there were less
So there was
pumpkins.
less variety.
Now,
everything.
is there a specific pumpkin? If you say, okay, I love the holidays, I'm going to get a pumpkin, but I'm not going to make it into a jack-o'-lantern because I want to make pies. Is there a certain pumpkin that's best for pumpkin pie?
The gourds, the Hubbards, like the red Hubbard and the blue Hubbard,
Okay.
make great pies. You can
Okay.
use a pumpkin, but
Someone said something called the cheese pumpkin.
cheese pumpkin, yes.
Does
Those
that look,
also.
does the cheese pumpkin look different?
It looks like a flattened pumpkin,
Okay.
and it's a little bit off color.
So it wouldn't really look as good probably in the front door as maybe some other pumpkins maybe.
Yeah, but they're both, yeah.
Exactly. But see, I think creating like if you went even to your garden center the next couple of days, there's so many gourds and interesting things. I think you can take from this, and there's not a lot left there from nature, just some accents. And doesn't that look like the epitome of fall?
Beautiful.
Also, wreaths. You have beautiful wreaths in your space.
Thank you.
And I think they could be used either outdoor or indoor, right?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Okay, let's take a look at the next shot. So this is from your
Oh,
from
okay.
your lot. Look at that wealth of color. I mean, you couldn't paint something so beautiful.
No, they're
Now
great.
these are all pretty much the similar type. What kind of gourds would you call these?
These are winged gourds.
Okay, the wing gourds have texture. They have a variety of colors, and you have that saturated dark green, but then a lot of different colors. I mean, you can even take them right now if you want to make let's say you're having people over for Sunday dinner, and you're going to make a pot roast and apples and something very fall. To just to come into your place, make a bowl of those and
A
put them on
centerpiece, yeah.
right on the centerpiece on a dining room table. For sure. What do you have right now in the garden center for fall? And then we're going to talk a little bit about Thanksgiving and go into some like that. Lots of gourds, right?
Gourds. We
Still
still have
pumpkins.
pumpkins, yeah.
Let's talk about the
mums.
the cabbages and kale.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay. So let's say you did the mums, they did their thing. If you were to have them replace it now because you wanted it to look like Thanksgiving outside, would you go with cabbage or kale?
That would be the next step.
Let's talk about the difference between cabbage and kale. So I know that one is more sort of compressed looking. The cabbages to me look almost more like a rose. They're kind of rounded and compressed.
Cabbage has a smoother leaf, rounded
Okay.
edge.
Okay.
The kale is ruffly.
The kale's a roughly look.
Roughly is.
What do you like better, the look of the cabbage or the kale?
I think I sell more kale.
Yeah, because it has such an interesting.
Texture, yeah.
Are just as
Three
hardy?
different colors, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've seen the sort of whitish, and I've seen green, and then purple. Are those the three colors, or are there other
No,
colors?
they're all green until the cold makes them start changing.
You told me something. See, I'm taking all your good stuff. You told me that the cold makes the cabbages and the kale turn brighter colors.
Color up, yes.
Okay, so do all kale kind of start green?
All green, yeah.
Okay, well, so that's interesting.
So then they come white or pink and then red.
Oh, so it's sort of degrees, kind of, in a way.
3 different colors.
Isn't that nice? So I did see a lot of green, and I thought maybe that's because we're behind in the season.
Right.
But I love the purple because I think it's kind of vibrant.
Yes.
How long, if you were to go come to your center and you said, okay, you know what, I'm having company next Sunday, there's nothing in the front now, I'm going to rip it out, I'm going to replace it with kale. How long, if no animal gets to it, how long will the kale last? Through the
Depends
winter?
on the cold, probably good into January. A good part into January.
So you have some visual interest there.
Yes.
A lot of times people ask me that they want something that's going to carry over, like in their pots.
Right.
Any suggestions on something to do to get them to the spring? So if there isn't snow, there's some seasonal color in their pots?
Everybody, the flowers are gone, so we sell all the greens, and they stick the pine, the winterberry, all different kinds.
All the different greens.
All the different greens.
That's
The
actually
juniper.
That's a very, very good tip. And I guess I'm sure you have live Christmas trees, right?
Live, yeah.
So take the trimmings,
Yes.
right, of the live Christmas
Definitely.
trees, and you got to
They're
do
free.
it early. You got to do it
Have
early.
to get them in before the ground,
and
the soil
then
freezes.
right, and then do as many different types as possible.
Yes.
Because doesn't it have great visual interest when you have boxwood next to some sort of a
Cedar.
fir, next to cedar, and so on? They're just so beautiful.
Yes.
Now, what about natural garlands?
We have those too. We'll have those too.
Anything's trending with that? Because I see people are getting a little bit more sophisticated and not always just looking for the evergreen wreath anymore. They're looking for, I think, more mixed greens now, don't you think?
The mixed ones are popular.
Yeah. Another question I have about the wreaths is, with the eucalyptus wreaths, are they not supposed to go outside?
They can. It's just
Mm-hmm.
probably going to get cold and freeze. And
Someone told me that they can run, actually, if it rains, that they can run.
I think that's if they're preserved. The color might run on
Right,
those.
right.
But the fresh ones they'll stay.
For wreaths for fall, have you done anything or seen anything, whether it's this year or the past? Have you done anything that you really like or seen anything that you like? I saw a wreath that was done that was sort of set in some sort of moss or something, and it was just all miniature pumpkins. That's all the whole
that's
wreath was.
cute.
That was really pretty. Did you see? You do your buying probably kind of early on, right?
Probably January, the
Oh,
year
wow.
of that year.
So you really have a heads up. Did you see anything when you were buying for the fall that you liked, or it was maybe different this year?
We had some really nice wreaths. They're
Oh, yeah.
artificial. Yeah.
Gorgeous, right? Of art,
We-
but any sort of trends?
Not that I know of.
Let's take a look at the next image and see what we have here. Okay, here's a couple of the trends that I kind of saw as a designer, and one of them was white.
White.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hot.
I found that people were using, because we've come into, the styles are a little bit more industrial now, the colors kind of toned down a little bit.
Right.
Now in this example, they have some sort of a metal drum there, and they did white pumpkins. For a change in my own yard, I have a bridge on my property that's iron, and on every time I put a little white pumpkin, because I saw a lot of white this year. In fact, I didn't do any red pumpkins, orange pumpkins at all. Do you see people going for more for
Yeah,
white where they didn't
looking
before?
for the white, yes.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it being more modern.
And now they're coming in all sizes. So you
Right.
can get the little ones and the big
And the
ones.
big ones. And this looks just amazingly lovely, but with the containers that are a little bit on the modern side and a combination. But definitely, I think definitely a trend towards white.
Yes.
The other thing I wanted to ask you was, what about green? Or there's this color of pumpkin. Now, you see them in magazines, but you don't see them out a lot. They're like a greenish gray color. Can we go to the next image? Maybe it's in the next image. No, that's not it. That's another setup. We'll talk in a minute. But there's pumpkins that are like a green or like a grayish green color.
The blue Hubbard tends to be grayish.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe that, because
Yeah.
galvanized is hot, so maybe that gray
Yeah.
is carrying over.
And that's a terrific look too. So those are still pumpkins. They're just a different variety. I didn't
the
know.
gourds. That's a gourd.
Oh, it's a
Well,
gourd.
no, it's a squash.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm going to show you a picture now, but let's take a look at this. Again, things that you can do now if you haven't gotten around to it. And a lot of my clients say to me they didn't get around to their seasonal decorating because it was so warm. They're only thinking about it now.
Now they're starting.
Yeah,
yeah.
because it's approaching and there's not much in the garden center. So here's another example of that where that wreath is just an artificial wreath that looks like leaves on
Yes.
top. And they just brought, it looks like there's a little bit of the small mums that they put in a wood container.
Right.
And a lantern. You have wonderful stuff like that. And a couple of pumpkins. And it really does look like fall without, I mean, there are things that you can do today
Definitely.
before things are gone. Let's take a look at the next image. Okay, these are a variety of something that I fell in love with 5 years ago and I always put, and that is ornamental peppers.
Yes.
Ornamental peppers didn't catch on a long time ago. I think it only caught on a while ago. You tell me.
Yeah, I think it'll last 5 years.
Now, ornamental peppers are not a pepper that you would ever eat, correct?
They're not to be eaten, but
right.
people have.
Oh, they're not poisonous or
No.
anything. And I don't think the deer like them for whatever reason.
They don't seem to bother them at my place.
The ornamental peppers that you had were gorgeous, and not only were they gorgeous, I see so much variety in them. I took an example of this one. I think this was at your place as well when I was taking pictures of your front garden center. This one has all different types of colors on it. It has red, it has purple, it has yellow, but I've seen different shapes of them,
Yes.
more round, more
Yes.
like a candy corn. I've seen like an eggplant aubergine purple.
Right,
I've
just a
seen
purple
light
one.
yellow, I've seen orange, and I've seen a hybrid of colors. They really vary. Are they different kinds of peppers?
Well, as these mature, they start to turn red. So when I get them in,
Okay.
they're probably all white. And then as they mature,
oh,
they
they
start to turn red.
Yeah, yeah.
But the purple ones stay purple. But
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
this-
I saw a really vibrant
about-
dark purple. Was purple a color you saw people looking for this year too?
they like the purple ones.
I saw people liking purple, whites, and greens. Not so traditional, I think. Let's take a look at the next image. Okay. All right, so now I want to transition. We talked a little bit about some of the things that you can still do for fall. Let's talk about setting a Thanksgiving table and some ideas, because you're very talented, and you never let on how talented you are. You're very talented. Here's an example using, instead of not doing going out and buying flowers, that you can take a trough or something that you already have. Linear is something, right? Don't you see a lot of people want to do things that are linear this year? And in this case, they took something that they could just easily get from your place, and that is they made the center centerpiece out of pumpkins and gourds.
Beautiful.
Isn't that amazing looking? And I almost prefer that to flowers, don't you think? Because it's a little bit unexpected.
I like it.
Let me ask you a question about the gourds and the pumpkins too. Someone said to me, you can shellac gourds and they will keep. But I would think what would happen is that the innards of the gourd would rot.
No, sometimes they last. They're very hard, so it's not like a soft.
So is that doable? Like,
Doable.
let's say you wanted to take, let's say you did this, and this was your Thanksgiving place setting, which I think is, to me, it's phenomenal, right? Because it's all natural looking. That after this day, you'd say, okay, well, I want to save these beautiful gourds and maybe like make them into a wreath. You could probably preserve them.
Sure.
Do you have to dry them out, or is it just the like the shellacking?
Just the shellac will keep
Yeah.
'em.
So here's some of the things that are trending. Again, we see a lot of white on this table.
Right.
And brown. People are embracing brown again as this wonderful looks. But the thing about it that strikes me so much is it's a little bit more casual. It has some natural elements to it. And I just think super sharp. Anything else in your own? Do you host Thanksgiving?
I don't.
You don't. The best thing to have, it's like a shore house. It's better to have a friend that has a shore house. It's better if it has a friend that has Thanksgiving or a family member. If you were to do a Thanksgiving at your table, or I'm sure in your lifetime you've done it, anything you've seen people do or that you like, I again, to me, the simplicity of just using gourds or pumpkins or things that are a little bit unusual.
I just love the naturals.
As much natural as possible.
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look at the next image. Okay, this is at your place.
Oh, what?
I don't know if this is this year's image or a last year's image, but see all the ones that have like warts on them.
Yeah.
So these are gourds.
Those are gorgeous.
Okay. So now right here, this one over here, is that sort of like a gray-green color.
Yeah.
Is that the Hubbardton?
No, that's not. I don't see a Hubbard.
Right on the front there. Do you see the
This is
color?
lunch lady gourds.
We-
They can have all great names.
I love the names. I could do a show just on the names. A lunch lady. That's kind of a lunch lady gourd. Okay. So you have, the background is pumpkins there. That's
Yes.
your lot there. And then you have the hay bales there. And then you have these. So anything warty is not a pumpkin, it's a gourd.
Well, there is one that looks exactly like the pumpkin, but is full of warts.
Isn't that amazing? All right, let's go to
Humps.
the next one. Okay, here's my favorite. So is it your, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, if you were replacing your mums now, or you didn't get to do mums this year because you waited too long, are the cabbages a good choice?
The cabbages are the next step.
And then it really transitions to Christmas very well, doesn't it?
Yes,
So these actually, okay, so these are kale or cabbages?
that's cabbage.
Cabbage, okay. They're just beautiful. I like the white centers. Is that going to get, when you said the color gets more intense,
Whiter.
it's going to
yes.
get, so it's going to go
those leaves
wider.
will turn whiter. Yeah.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? Those are absolutely beautiful. I don't think I have a picture of the kale, unfortunately. Okay, let's take a look at the next image. Okay, here is another table setting that I thought had your name on it. It's very stylish, but again, instead of going with traditional flowers or hokey things, it was used with natural elements that you can get this day at a garden center. Now, the trend of white, I think, will continue through the holidays because I even see a lot of white, silver, and gold in holiday decorations. Did you see that this year?
I did.
Yeah, very much so. But this is just a collection of different pumpkins in whites and I don't know, I would call that green. Is it not a green pumpkin?
It's green to gray.
And also, I noticed people are using, earlier on this year, I saw in anything I went to buy from my stores, people using pine cones.
Pine cones.
Yeah, which I always equated to Christmas, but I'm seeing pine cones early mixed with the fall look. So you could do a lot of natural elements and make a terrific Thanksgiving
Yes.
table, I think. Okay, let's take a look at the next image. Okay, all right, this is my
bridge.
house. This is my bridge on my property in the front. And I think this might have been a last year's picture. Last year I did orange. This year I just sort of kind of impaled them on there. Late in the season, I think when it gets very cold, I think that the deer will kind of hit it, right? And not the small ones, but the big ones. Won't they crush them and
They
eat
do.
the pumpkin?
They do.
But they wait a long time to do that, I think.
I don't think they wait till they find them.
I did cabbages in the front or kale in the front, and they pulled them out like this, but they didn't eat them. They just left them because I guess, are they too tough?
Those are probably harder. If there was a bigger pumpkin, they would have ate it.
They would have ate it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Okay, that's a display that I did last year. I was going out, but I liked the look of Thanksgiving so much. I just took pumpkins and gourds and bittersweet.
The bittersweet, yes.
Tell us a little bit about bittersweet, because I think that bittersweet, I get excited about when I start to see it appear? Obviously, it's there all year long. Now, it's an invasive vine, isn't it?
I don't know that much about it.
But so I forage for it, and then now, because now that the peak color is over, it starts to show itself. If you notice.
Well, it shows up when it starts to drop its leaves.
Yes.
Then you notice it.
So I noticed today coming to studio, I noticed in the high tops of trees that there it is, and I think that bittersweet has a nice natural synergy
yes.
with the fall stuff. So what else do we have here? Okay, here's another setting for the Thanksgiving holiday. Again, very natural and using
The
wood.
logs, yeah.
And that's spectacular too. Again, not using formal flowers, going to a garden center and using things that are natural. Did you find a lot of wood elements for accents when you were buying for the store? Did you see wood is a thing that was continuing?
Yes.
Wood's popular. You know, one of my favorite, when I talk about your trees next, because we're going to go into talking about Christmas and all the Christmas stuff that you have. I love in the front, I love the birch with the red. That's just gorgeous to me, and the pepper berries. Talk about some of your other trees that you have.
Okay. We did a retro tree this year.
Gorgeous.
Because my girls wanted retro. Retro's hot. So we did that. Country. We do a natural woodland. We do a gnome tree, because gnomes are real popular.
So gnomes are not something that's
fairies
trending.
the fairies are good, but the gnomes are great.
Now, you did a tree that's really trending in millennial pink.
Okay.
And the millennial pink is not like a girly pink. Well, it is girly, but it's like a fleshy pink.
A little peachy pink.
Like a peachy pink.
Yes.
That was beautiful and stunning, and that pairs great with silver and grays and
the
that
green,
kind of
yeah, soft greens.
And then talk about the one we have blue. That's beautiful.
Well, we did a natural tree last year, and it's very natural and not a lot of color. So we did it with red last year, so this year we put blue in to spice it up.
I love the blue.
It looks great.
I thought the blue really was nice.
Looks great.
And let's just talk about overall things that you're seeing this year for people for decorating season. I would definitely say a lot of white, right?
A lot of white.
Silver, metallics.
Yes,
Okay.
metallics. And not farm, but country.
Rustic.
Home, yes.
Wood.
Woods.
Yeah.
Galvanized, still popular.
And
the birch.
You're a great place to go for ornaments. Now, I saw beautiful picks. Do people know what picks are, where you put them in
The
tree?
silks and the stems.
You had really
and the
good
picks.
picks.
And they're going to be on sale for Christmas, and the ornaments are going to be on sale, so we're going to have a great...
And your prices were very fair already today when I took a look
Yeah.
at them, but your Christmas stuff is spectacular. You have to check out this place. It's called The Garden Gate. And we're just running out of time. Can you give us the address at The Garden Gate?
It's 101
Okay.
State Route 31, Flemington, New Jersey.
And can you give us your phone number?
908-788-4255. And closer to Thanksgiving, we'll be open till 7 o'clock every night.
Oh,
most
that's
nights.
great.
Yeah.
No wonder you can't cook. You're working all the time. It is a lovely place. It's outstanding. I'm in the garden centers all the time. This is a place you have to see. Sandy and her family do just a wonderful job in the space. Go inside the main building. Look at the ribbons when you first come in. Look at those trees, especially that tree in the front, that classic tree with the pepper berries and the red, and that beautiful tree with the millennial pink. Thank you for being my guest.
Thank you.